Here we are again.
Hello there.
It's a hot one. It's a really hot one. We're closing in on Memorial Day weekend, just a little over a week away, and
It's summer in Florida now.
it's big time. It's big time summer. It hit and hit hard. We're just waiting for the wave to start. That's going to be fun. I know, Lee. It's been a little while since we've recorded, and we've had good ideas that have come and gone. We've just been so busy with all this music production.
Truly, yeah, it's been a lot.
That's a lot of what we've been doing, and just doing some website upgrades and trying to stay on top of everything, trying to get into the 21st century.
Weaving back together all of our out of control projects.
Yep. I still feel so analog, even though I'm doing all of these kind of techie things these days.
It's a marriage.
It's a marriage. A marriage made in heaven or in hell, I don't know, but it's a marriage for sure. So I shared a meme today. It was not my own meme. It was someone else's named Joel Rafidi. I shared it on various social media, and it definitely got a lot of feedback, a lot of people commenting on it and sharing it and that sort of thing. By the way, I just want to say, I just have this feeling, particularly on Facebook and Instagram, that if you had the most earth-shattering news in the world to share, but you didn't put it in the form of a meme, nobody would give a shit. Nobody would comment. Nobody would like it or share it. It has to be a meme. What do you make of that?
I think memes are like catchy sound bites, and they're easy to absorb and easy to respond to fast. I just think they have all of the right ingredients for a quick hitting way for people to connect. I mean, I don't know. I get tired of memes, but there's some good ones. There's some funny ones. People love them. It's kind of like entertainment with a message. I don't know. I think people memes are like quotes used to be, and sometimes quotes are on memes. Obviously, it's like meme a day or something, or in this case, multiple memes a day.
Yeah, right. A meme a
But
day
people
keeps
do
the
take these
the
little
evil
nuggets
away.
of either wisdom or entertainment from them. And I think there's just something about that format that reaches people, particularly on the social media platforms where you're scrolling through a lot of things and just kind of looking at little sound bites, flashes.
Yeah, well, I mean, you make a good point. I think we were watching. What was that little show we were watching? Very, very entertaining little show that was almost like a cross between Twin Peaks and I don't know.
School spirits?
Yeah, what was the other thing that was sort of a cross between? It was like almost like Harry Potter meets Twin Peaks, or with a little bit of the movie Ghost thrown in, or something like that. But anyway, so there is a joke that's made about blogging. There are people from different eras who are coming together. I won't give away the whole show, but the plot line. But they're from different timelines or time periods, I should say. And someone mentions blogging, and that does not compute for somebody living a little bit later who's from a different era. And the reason, it turns out, is because blogs are just too long to read. They just take too long to read. And I feel like memes are the opposite end of that. They're the sound bites that appear to have meaning, but maybe they don't. I have a song that I actually made a video for it today. I'll share that with you later, Lee. It's called "The Meaning of Life." I made a video for the song that's coming out soon, actually. on this new album, Lost in a Soundbite. But the lyrics are about this meme issue, and they go like this: should I post another meme? Would that make you pay attention or just distract you from your unreal situation? Should I post what you want me to or post what you truly need, some real novelty in your feed to untie you from your post? Should I fit in a programmed niche that scratches your programmed itch to meet your programmed needs because you're a programmed lead? Or should I blow your friggin' mind, help you leave reality behind, that overweening mother who never helps but only smothers? And that repeats.
Lay that on people.
Lay it on people. Yeah, it's
Well,
actually
I
a good
think-
song. I mean, if I do say so myself,
It is
it's
a
kind
good
of
song.
catchy.
I think it must be really hard for a writer such as yourself to have things reduced to memes when you probably want more depth, more interaction, a little more substance. I mean,
That's a good point. Yes, I mean, I'm not in a position, I feel my own attention span has changed with changing technology, and I want things faster. I want the information delivered in new ways. I've listened to a lot more audiobooks over recent years, for example. I think this is also why podcasts are very attractive, especially if they're not super long. And this one will not be. So hang in there. But yeah, I definitely feel like, the meme phenomenon. While you can be a writer with it, you can create interesting and creative memes, and that's almost like a little art form. There's nothing wrong with that. But certainly, it does not allow for expatiating on topics and going in depth in any way. It's just basically a kind of a teaser.
yeah, I mean, at their best, they're nuggets of wisdom, that sometimes are highly entertaining, if they're ironic or paradoxical.
I mean, sometimes they're hilarious, and they can be risque and all the different things. And people talk about the meme wars. I have another song that addresses that. Oh man, there's so much music. It just hasn't come out yet. So it'll be very interesting when it does to see what people think of not only the music but the lyrics, which is what I'm really, really into. So today, this meme that I posted goes like this. This is the meme, and it has a big black capsule on it as an image. The black pill community is perhaps the most programmed of all. To believe everything you observe is motivated by evil, to believe goodness doesn't stand a chance, to believe anything that provides hope is probably a psychological operation, and to refuse to let any semblance of light in is to be perfectly curated in the image of the very evil you claim to be at war with.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in that. It's kind of like you cultivate what you focus on. It's very easy to fight your own demons just by your beliefs, however they've been shaped.
Right. I mean, this just hit the wrong button. Hey, that was another song. That was a good song. But anyway, I'm trying to find it's a chapter from the World Cult and You, where I introduced my own meme, which I've written and talked about a couple of different times. And the meme is the let's see, where is it, if I can find it. Bear with me, people. This is not something I plan to do, but it's so appropriate. So this is chapter 4, a little meme in chapter 4 of The World Cult and You. It's the title of the chapter is How to Navigate Reality Without Becoming Shipwrecked on the Desert Island of a Cult. And the meme is some little man standing there with a mirror, a hand mirror, and it goes like this: truthers who stare too long into the darkness become the monsters they start out to expose. And I can tell you that really ruffled some feathers. Now, basically, I'm just paraphrasing a quote by Friedrich Nietzsche. So that's the funny thing. He said that, beware that when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become a monster. For when you gaze long into the abyss gazes also into you. So obviously, this kind of thing has been on my mind for a long time. I was very happy to see this meme by Joel Rafidi. And I was aware that a lot of people would agree with it, and that a lot of people would disagree with it, and there would be strong opinions on both sides. Just to be a little bit snarky, I felt like the people who got it were people who understood what was going on here. They understood the kind of divide and conquer tactic. So the black pill is just kind of the opposite side of the light. The light worker piece here, in this way of looking at it, and then people who really defend it are black pilled. It's pretty simple. They're black pilled, and so. But I had one very interesting response from somebody on one of my social media platforms. A guy named Sean wrote that there's more to it than that. Being black-pilled means that you don't trust the system to fix the system, and they're just they're just waiting for the full appearances of reason and peace. No, he just says they are just waiting for the full appearances of reason and peace to fall away, so they can get to the bitter and necessary process of fighting to get things free from what they are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you can tell this person is really locked into kind of the struggle mentality, and we're fighting this fight. The meme war is raging and all that kind of thing.
Wow, where's the wu-wei?
Yeah, where is the effortless effort and something like that? Yeah, I agree. I mean, I understand. I mean, my response was, I feel like, I kind of get where you're coming from one perspective, but I feel like it's the much larger perspective is actually in this black-pilled meme. It tells a much larger story of how we're in this kind of what John Kreider likes to call a disbalanced balance. It's on purpose. It's by the what I call the head teacher, the great parasite, the Lord Archon, the great Archon. It's the inorganic force lording it over this realm from a certain perspective, who likes to keep things in this imbalanced balance where you have a kind of divide and conquer strategy going on. You have your black-pilled people, and then you have your super positive people, which is another whole problem. I mean, the other day I shared another meme on social media, which was kind of the opposite end of this spectrum, and it was two people from like a 50s ad looking into a closet, and there are all these little monsters in the closet, right? And the meme is the woman who just won't look into the closet, and she's freaked out. It says love and light only, people. And then the man who's trying to kind of push her into the closet or towards the closet, it's me pushing them to embrace their darkness. So really, there are problems in both camps, if you will, and I don't associate myself as being part of either camp, but working on the synthesis and an integration and ultimately a transcendence of this entire dialectic. But it's interesting, what will trigger people. You have some people who would respond to this love and light meme and say, well, what's wrong with, being an Abraham Hicks type of person and focusing only on the positive? And I can tell you that's spiritual bypass. That's what's wrong with it. And then on the other hand, when you get into the black-pilled zone, then you get into the very thorny problem of how this quote-unquote reality works by using our attention to create itself. So if all you're doing is focusing on the darkness, then you are perpetuating the darkness. It's not that hard, folks. I mean, if you haven't gotten this, I'm sure a lot of people listening to this, or a lot of the very few people listening to this will understand what I'm saying. But, in the cultolangia at large out there, a lot of people just would either not get this or they would completely ridicule the very concepts that I'm putting out.
Well, most people aren't even thinking about living in a kind of design dualism, where people are intentionally kind of pitted against each other with they're made to be, in opposite camps in their ideas, and they get heavily invested in it. I mean, most people aren't even processing it that way. And it's probably, the people who are probably conspiracy theorists or thought of as such, who thinks that there's some great parasite, orchestrating a dualistic world to create loosh from both sides, people that feel strongly about things.
Oh, like Christians thinking about Satan? I mean, they're a bunch of conspiracy theorists, right?
Right.
I mean, it's the same thing, folks. It's the same thing. I mean, so many people throughout history, in all kinds of different religions and sects and cults and philosophies, etc., have happened on the same phenomenon. It's been given all kinds of different names, and you've got Ahriman, Beelzebub, and there's a million different names for this negative force that appears to be, for lack of a better word, feeding on humanity. And it is feeding, I believe, on humanity. It's feeding on humanity's energy. You use the word loosh. This is what we're talking about. It's this human energy that is the food source of this massive intelligence that is essentially commandeering human attention to create its black-pilled realities.
Yeah. I think a lot of people struggle with, how do you know when or if to fight for injustice or something that you perceive as worth fighting for, versus withdrawing from the entire construct and maybe embracing inner work, or simply ignoring that part of so-called reality because our mere attention to it gives it power. We see that in the news, how the news is able to control how people think and feel about world events. So, how do you know? And if you aren't aware of the game or acknowledge that, I mean, you're kind of SOL, because you're kind of suckered into, the whims of being pulled in the direction of whatever your beliefs are.
I agree. It's a bit of a pickle. I mean, I've had some people, some very skeptical, kind of negative people in many ways, ask me things like, what would you do if, you were attacked or whatever? Well, I would punch their lights out. I would protect myself. I would protect my family. But I don't take I'm over taking any kind of adversarial strategy in the larger system as a way of life, because I see how it perpetuates the very system. Basically, when you fight something energetically, you make it part of your own energy field and it becomes part of your own reality. This is just an energetic fact as I see it. I don't really believe in material facts, but I believe in energy facts. Right. And that's a loaded statement, and feel free to hate on me if you don't get it. But the issue here is basically just, how does it all work? It's not that I want to believe a certain way or that kind of thing. It's just that as dispassionately as I can, when I examine how this construct functions, I arrive at the conclusion that energy follows consciousness. Energy follows attention. I mean, John Crider says it beautifully. He's written a number of really fantastic books on inner alchemy. He says, we are all to one degree or another asleep, living through most often quiet and desperate lives without ever realizing we are trapped. A trap so ingenious that no fences are needed. All that is needed is complete control over the edifices that we create through our belief systems. Because in this way we create our own fences and then hide from ourselves the fact that such fences are in any way sanely possible. Now, I do want to follow up and say that I do not feel that this is ultimately a trap. I believe there is a way of escaping it. The way out is in. It's an alchemical, an energetic process. I also think that there's ample reason to believe that the very trap, so-called trap, is actually a kind of classroom, and we may have had some part in designing that. From the creator source level to have different experiences and different learnings and teachings that might help us elevate into better creators ourselves. So I'm not down with the idea that this is only and just a trap. I think it's far more nuanced than that. I have another song about this. It's coming out. Stay tuned on this exact subject. So what do you think of all that?
I don't think it's a trap either. I mean, I think people can feel trapped anytime that they run up against things, challenges that these worlds these worlds.
The many worlds.
I'm living in multiple worlds.
That's right.
It feels like that sometimes.
I feel like that every day of every minute.
Which person am I? When I go do different things. Where am I? But
do I have my white hat or my gray hat or my black hat on?
Yeah. I mean, it often feels to me like a bit of a video game. I feel like there's a purpose, but the purpose, it feels like growth and experience to me, and that it's different for everybody. I mean,
I like that.
Highly individualized, and I don't think there's necessarily an endpoint. And I personally don't feel like there's a trap, or it's a trap. But I sure I brought this up in the last chat. I feel like it's just all too easy for people to get pulled into victim thinking. I mean, we are programmed to respond as victims. In fact, it's funny, something I've been thinking a lot about this lately, about mindset and attitude, just, how you're carrying your mind, even when things are challenging. And I also think a lot about looshing, what looshes people. I've been talking a lot about that lately, and that's like drawing your energy away from you, perhaps to feed the great parasite. And I've decided recently that complaining is looshing. Like,
or giving into a looshing process.
It's like, I don't know what made me think about that. It was just how pointless it is, like, I mean, yes, express frustrations and all that, but if you can't change it, like if it's that big of a deal and you can't change it, stop complaining, because you're just giving your power away, without maybe being prompted to do something as part of your growth and change.
Yeah, you make a lot of good points. I have actually watched a video this afternoon called "Rockism is Killing Music," and it's by
What's
somebody.
rockism?
Rockism, yeah, it's by this. It's a fascinating video by a fairly large channel. He's got about 600,000 subscribers. I think his name is Tim Gill. The channel is the Punk Rock MBA. And, you think that this guy is all like hardcore and everything, but really he has a very similar perspective on many of these things, or at least as it applies to music. Essentially, he's saying that, you have all these people out there, and all they really want to do is complain, and they want to shoot other people down. They're basically, to map our conversation onto what he was saying, they're basically participating in a giant lushing festival around music and musical tastes and whether the music is authentic or did they use backing tracks when they played live, or they're so much better in person, or you like the studio version? Oh, you're just a loser. And all they're doing is they're trying to get votes up on Reddit or wherever these losers are hanging out. And really, what they're doing is they're playing in this massive blackpilling game, if you will, for the great parasite to loosh everybody through them. They might get a momentary surge of energy, but then they're going to get that energy taken away from them like they're a little child, because they basically are. And they need to grow up. They need to basically let people create however the hell they want to create. Mm-hmm. And that's called art.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether it's AI or it's analog or some mishmash or something we haven't even thought about. If it's new and somebody out there finds it beautiful or meaningful, it's art.
Yeah. When there's too much judgment being thrown around, one has to look in the mirror and figure out what that's triggering.
It's another one of my songs, Turn in the Mirror.
Turn in the Mirror. This is just a song journey tonight.
It's a song journey. Well, music has really been on our minds, and it's been our focus lately, just getting all this stuff coming out. So hopefully I have a channel. I don't know where you're listening to this, but you can find me at Sol Luckman Official over on YouTube, and Sol Luckman on Spotify. So come check me out. If it's okay with you, Lee, I'd like to just leave with a quote.
Of course.
That speaks to this discussion. And this is a quote by a hardcore, world-famous kind of, mega scientist, Max Planck. And it just speaks to so many of the things we've been talking about. And I will leave it with you as food for thought moving forward until we meet again.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. All right, here's the quote. I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness. We cannot get behind consciousness. Everything that we talk about, everything that we regard as existing, postulates consciousness.